Doing, like poems by famous people. This one is by Pablo Neruda. Are there any Spanish-speaking people here? Okay, we'll just do it in English then. It's called Agua Sexual, or Sexual Water. Rolling down in big and distinct drops, in drops like teeth, in heavy drops like marmalade and blood. Rolling down in big drops, the water is falling like a sword made of drops. Like a river of glass that tears things. It is falling, biting, beating on the axle of symmetry, knocking on the seams of the soul, breaking abandoned things, soaking the darkness. It is nothing but a breath more full of moisture than crying, a liquid, a sweat, an oil that has no name, a sharp motion taking shape, making itself thick. The water is falling in slow drops toward the sea, towards its dry ocean, toward its wave without water. I look at the wide summer and a loud noise coming from a barn. Wine shops, cicadas, towns, excitements, houses, girls sleeping with hands over their hearts, dreaming of pirates, of conflagrations. I look at ships. I look at trees of bone marrow bristling like mad cats. I look at blood, daggers, and women's stockings and men's hair. I look at beds. I look at corridors where a virgin is sobbing. I look at blankets and organs and hotels. I look at secretive dreams. I let the straggling days come in. And the beginnings also, and memories also, like an eyelid held open hideously. I am watching. And then this sound comes, a red noise of bones, a sticking together of flesh, and legs yellow as wheat heads meeting. I am listening among the explosions of the kisses. I am listening, shaken among breathings and sobs. I am here, watching, listening, and half of my soul at sea and half of my soul on land. And with both halves of my soul, I watch the world. And even if I close my eyes and cover my heart over entirely, I see the mountain, the monotonous water falling in big, monotonous drops. It's like a hurricane of gelatin, like a waterfall of sperm and sea anemones. I see a clouded rainbow hurrying. I see its water moving over my bones. That's Pablo Neruda in English. He's a cool guy, and translate, I've just been reading about this artist called Frida Kahlo, Mexican, and then Diego Rivera, and it's just interesting how these people who identified with the oppressed, identified so much then, like with Marxism and how popular, all that was back down there at that time. It's kind of interesting reading because they're not really like your hardcore European atheist communists, right? What appealed to them was class revolution, so in terms of the intellectuality, it wasn't like necessarily that they were, into the abstract like Hegel and Feuerbach and those guys, but they just wanted, justice for the people. Anyway, Pablo Neruda was one of those guys. And that's such an interesting time back then. I was going to try to get time to type this poem up, because I don't like to try to read my handwriting and see what a mess it is. So I'll struggle through it, but after reading a couple of poems by Pablo Neruda, then it inspired this, which also came out of the fact that I had taken a nap, and I haven't been writing a lot because I've been painting, but now I haven't been painting a lot. But I lay down to take a nap, and I saw, usually I just paint whatever comes out, but I saw, orange canvas with green on it. So it was shortly after that I went and read Pablo Neruda and wrote this down afterwards. It's called Incident at the Square Dance in Small Mountain Town. I saw the orange background in my dream and knew that green would come in time to dance. Old people doing slightly cubic sachets and colorful costumes, throwing their long skirts across the room like frustrated Australian boomerangs as their octogenarian spouses hop from square to square across the tiled asbestos floor like elephants on pogo sticks. A curious antiquarian scene, streaming slowly like a YouTube video, filmed by neurotic, psychotic, anal, possibly sociopathic researchers from La Jolla, exploring the sexual behaviors of marine life deep down within the Marianas Trench. Or so it seemed to their grandchildren, peering through the small basement windows. Boy, this part, let's see. Staring through the small basement windows like Siamese cats glued optically to a goldfish bowl. This is as good as piranhas in a fish tank, whispered Ben as he passed the dragon-decorated ceramic pipe of smoking hash. As good as a cat in a dryer full of women's underwear at the laundromat, chuckled Ben. Purple smoke rippling from his nostrils. Almost as good as watching maggots eat roadkill, opined Lucy as she brushed off her blouse and tapped the charred remains into a small oyster shell. Meanwhile, Glue Doll in Spaceship X, assuming that these urchins were enemies spying on his newfound friends, who just the night before had treated him to German chocolate cake and lemonade, pushed the button that would protect his newfound friends. Children found incinerated outside Brown Memorial Church, the headlines read. So that's what happens to me when I read a little Pablo Neruda and mix it up with my dreams. And then just in closing, I'm going to do a poem that I wrote about 34 years ago that's like about love. So, not like just universal love kind of. In this world of heart and mind, who knows what treasures we may find when we drill through the crust of fear and distrust into the reservoir of love within. We must beware, of course, lest unleashing this mighty force, uncontrolled and misdirected, having been so long neglected, we cause destruction, disappointment, or despair. But if the principles of love we know, and which direction the heart should grow, then we can cap this wondrous flow and tap the infinite power of the universe and live in joy all together forever.